Look, it's Thursday. We don't have time, so it's a quickie. We don't have time to do a full episode because you know what? Doing 2 full episodes every 2 weeks is too much. Too much. So every second Thursday, it's quickie time. So that's what we're doing today. And I'm going to kick it off. It's a stories episode, but I'm going to kick it off with a letter that isn't so. It's a little bit of a story and a little bit of a feedback.
Great.
It says, "Hi Liz and Tom, continuing to plough through the back catalogue, but I just wanted to give a shout out to Scott, Amy and Tilly and their stories about ethical non-monogamy and poly relationships.
Okay.
It's been something that I did not understand or comprehend for so long, in brackets, thanks society for forcing monogamy on us all. But having listened to their stories, I've had a bit of an, ooh, maybe this could work for me moment. Having been single forever, I'm struggling to find out what I want in a relationship and certainly having more trouble getting people to outline what they want. And so there's miscommunication, different expectations, and then all the pain and heartache. I'm also now a fiercely independent person, so the thought of having a partner around all the time freaks me out a bit. So I started pursuing casual relationships, probably a whole other episode on its own, it's there, and still had the same frustrations. In the last 2 weeks, however, I've met 2 gentlemen online who were married and looking for people to date. I liked the look of both and matched and started chatting. The first gentleman and his wife were relatively new to having an open relationship and hadn't actually met anyone yet. He and I made a date to meet at the end of the week, but on the day of our date, his wife had an anxiety attack about us meeting, so we cancelled. The second gentleman's wife lives in Canberra for work and has apparently now got a regular boyfriend down there. He'd been seeing someone previously, but it hadn't worked out, so we had a date on Wednesday, in brackets just met for drinks. We got on incredibly well, so much so that we organised dinner for the very next day. The date was even better and things are currently disgustingly adorable and I have never been happier at this point, even this early. While I am very conscious of keeping my reality and emotions in check, I feel like the conversation about the status of our potential relationship is so upfront that there are clear boundaries straight away rather than playing the usual guessing games around other dates, like does he like me, where is this going, etc. So I just wanted to say thank you to you guys, the podcast and your guests for your stories because it has opened my eyes to more options and I know that I am going to be so actively communicating through this new journey. Keep it up."
Brilliant. Congratulations, reader.
Thank you. Yes.
Take a.
Is that for us or for the reader? A bit of both. Well done, us.
I'm glad that our humble little show has brought information in and thus led to someone else picking that up and running with it.
Figuring out what they're into and going with it. It just, every time we get any kind of feedback like this, it just warms my little heart so much. And I also want to extend my thanks to Scott, Amy and Tilly for coming on and sharing their stories as well, because having all of those different sides of a ethically non-monogamous, or I think what it's called it, relationship anarchy, something like that, is I don't think that was exactly it, but it's close to that. Having all of the sides, so we had, the husband, the wife, and one of the girlfriends, having all those sides enables us to be able to show it not just from I bet that person says that, but I wonder what their wife thinks. Anyway, so thank you to those 3 for coming on and know that your stories have helped.
Yes, evidently.
At least one, if not a heck of a lot more.
And to the reader, congratulations. Good luck going forward, but sounds like a happy, healthy scenario you found yourself in. I will take the reins, Elizabeth.
Please do.
And I went, I hit the streets, hat in hand, looking for walk of shame stories. Now, I'm not huge on the title.
I believe we call it Stride of Pride now.
Stride of Pride.
Yeah.
Stride of Pride, everybody playing along at home. So we're going to change the language.
If you're still in your slutty clothes from the night before, you pick up your shoes, you wipe that mascara off your face and you strut to get your coffee knowing that the whole world knows you got some and they probably didn't.
Get it. Now, we'll go back to 1997 for the story, Jesus. Everybody. Step back. It was 1997 and I was a sophomore in college. I went as Posh Spice for Halloween. So we know we're in the 90s.
Yeah.
Most people thought my friends and I were dressed as prostitutes. The walk of shame the next morning was the Saturday of Parents' Weekend at the university.
No.
The costume was fully intact as I stumbled home in a sheer purple sparkle shirt, black miniskirt, knee-high silver glitter platform boots. Estimated heel height 5 to 6 inches.
Jesus.
Did I mention it was a Catholic school?
Oh, man.
Quite a few horrified looks, but I didn't care if it was 7 a.m. or midnight. Those boots were amazing. Don't get me wrong, I felt very shamed, but it's hard to feel completely bad when your shoes are a million times better than anyone else's.
Amazing.
So I love that this person has just owned their footwear and just owned it. As you should.
Absolutely. You looked hot last night. As long as you get rid of your panda eyes, you look hot as shit the next day too.
I've got a quick
Do
one I
it.
want to hit you with again. After waking up in a guy's bed, I just wanted to get out of there.
Yeah, know that feeling.
I decided to sneak out and walk back to my car to avoid any awkwardness. I tried to creep through the living room and out the front door, but I couldn't get his front door open.
Oh, no.
I didn't want to risk making more noise, so I headed out the back door, only to end up in a fenced-in yard.
Oh, no.
I proceeded to hop the fence in my dress from the night before, whilst carrying my heels in the snow, and start my journey back to my car.
Oh,
I had to walk past a church just as Sunday morning service was ending,
heck yeah, you did.
but I got to my car and realised my keys were still in his room. I did the reverse and snuck back in the house and finally made it to my car and home. But I will never forget that walk
I
of
just
shame.
imagine her commando rolling across the garden on the way to get back into the house.
And then you get, my keys.
I've got a story that I found on news.com.au for you. So when you go on a Tinder date, Tom, let's say in some alternate universe you went on a Tinder date. Like, what would you consider a bad Tinder date?
Is a bad Tinder date not just a bad date, full stop, or are we talking two separate things? I mean, it's someone you don't know, I assume.
I mean, look, the worst date that I think about, like, obviously, let's not get murdered or anything, but, like, you know, there's a bit of awkwardness. You're not keen. Someone goes to you. This guy went on a Tinder date and got robbed. Yeah. So a man arrived at a hotel for what he believed was a Tinder date, but it turned out to be an armed robbery in which a couple stole his personal belongings and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I want to know why he had thousands of dollars on him going to a date, but it's probably like a credit card theft thing. So the victim showed up at a hotel room. This was in Phoenix last month after matching with a woman whose Tinder profile said her name was Sonia. And when he made it to the room, he had a gun pointed at his head and they demanded his property. The victim handed over his mobile phone, identification card, social media accounts, PIN and bank account information. The victim was then ordered to drive the suspects to a nearby bank, and then the suspects took his car as well.
The day started out poorly. Gee whiz.
Yeah. Days later, so what does it say? So the two people were identified. The authorities picked them up and they matched them with a bunch of stuff. And days later, they discovered an online escort advertisement with the couple's phone number and set up a meeting location. So as they were waiting for them, they nabbed them. Police.
Good.
Yeah. So basically, during that nabbing, though, they carjacked another vehicle. And the police followed them out and managed to catch up with them. But I've worried about getting murdered on a date before. I've worried about getting assaulted on a date before. I've never
Congratulations. Here's a new fear.
Here's a new fear unlocked,
Here's
everybody.
a new phobia, everyone. Just
when
put that on the shelf.
When you are going on a date, you might be robbed. It could be a setup to... Yeah.
I wonder how long it took him to realize he was being robbed and it wasn't sexy role play. Like you walk into the thing and there's a gun you've caught me.
Oh, and what are you going to do to me, Daddy?
and then you go, hang on, 10 minutes in. No, this is real. Oh, no,
shit. That's my real credit card. Please. Okay, great.
Oh, the poor
Have you got something that's a little less depressing to drive us home with?
Look, I've got another stride of pride story that I can tickle us away with, and then we can forget that horribleness. That's quite nasty, I think, to be robbed on a date. A friend of mine, so someone's dobbed in their pal here. A friend of mine was seeing a guy who lived about a 20-minute walk away. She went back to his place after a night out, but she forgot to take her contact lenses out.
Oh.
So in the morning, her eyes hurt and she took them out. Not having brought her contact lens case with her, she had to carry them back home in a cup of water.
Oh, no.
And since she's almost blind without them, she managed to walk into a lamppost. On the bright side, it meant she didn't recognize anyone she knew on her stride of pride. The poor lamb.
But did the cup of water survive when she tripped and ran into the lamppost?
There are some stories that we never get a satisfying resolution to, Liz.
I just want some closures
but
every
please
now
write in and
and
let
then.
us know, did the contacts make it? Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe not.
yeah. All right, well, that's our quickie this week.
Yes.
If you have any stories of when you've done an amazing stride of pride, or if you consider it a walk of shame, like, I will get on board with that as well. Sometimes some things you cannot turn into a good situation, and we want to hear about them because that's what our podcast is all about.
Yeah, so we want to reclaim the stride of pride we want to rebrand the walk of shame, the stride of pride, but it can still be a walk of shame in your own eyes, right? So that's the
exactly,
difference we're going to.
exactly. So write to us at ghostofboyfriendspast@gmail.com. It is the season. We're asking for reviews for Christmas this year. We've both been mostly on the nice list this year. And so as our present, we would love if you've ever enjoyed our episodes, if you've ever gotten anything out of it, if you've even giggled just a little bit, or if you've shed a little tear, if you can find somewhere to review us, we would be very grateful. It's the best present that we could get this Christmas season.
Please.
Until then, I've been Liz Best here with...
And Tom Harris. If you're not going to rate the bloody show, please share it.
Share it. We love it. That's a good present too. It's not as good, but it's good.